LLC. This is vlog number 11, and it's my first vlog of 2013, finally. This vlog is actually addressing something that came out in the media prior to the new year. The Associated Press put out an article, I found it on Yahoo, that was stating that the unemployment had gone down, but don't celebrate yet because it's mostly attributed to discouraged workers leaving the workforce. Because I actually do look at the data that comes out from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, I knew that that was inaccurate. And I actually wrote a blog to call BS on the Associated Press for that article, and I'll put the link to that blog maybe down in the description of this video so that you can go check that out if you want. But this is mostly actually because I do agree that there are too many discouraged workers. And I also feel like even if you're not an official discouraged worker, if you're just emotionally discouraged, you're not categorized as discouraged, this vlog is for you. In this vlog, what I'm going to help you do is diagnose what has caused you to feel this discouragement, potentially what you can do to change your approach, and also ways that we can help you. One of the options that the Bureau of Labor and Statistics gives unemployed persons for considering themselves discouraged includes because they have determined that there are few to no opportunities. What I'd like to do is take a look a little bit further. Go a little bit further than the Bureau of Labor and Statistics goes and say, okay, well, what is it that made you determine that there were few to no opportunities? I have identified maybe 4 things that could be happening in their job search that might have caused them to come to this conclusion. One is job postings. The other is if you have news about a shrinking industry or a local economy even that's not doing so well. If your role is being phased out, maybe it's being replaced by technology, or if you have been applying for jobs for months and gotten no response. So those are 4 things that we're going to evaluate within this blog. We're going to take a little bit deeper look into that. Let's take a look at job postings. If a prospective client or a client comes to me and they say, there just aren't any opportunities for me in my industry, or my role is not available, there's nobody hiring for somebody like me, I ask them, well, where are you looking? And if they say job postings, then what I try to tell them is job postings are a very inaccurate portrayal of what's really going on in the job market. You may have heard of this enigma called the hidden job market. Well, the hidden job market really does exist. And while large companies and recruiting firms will still pay their membership, very costly membership for job boards, they're not using it as a primary source of sourcing for candidates. They are looking within their network, they're using social media. There are so many more options, more cost-effective options, more effective options just in general for finding talent these days. So if you're looking only at job boards and saying, I don't see anybody hiring for me, that doesn't mean that there aren't companies out there who are needing what you have to offer. And that's really how you have to look at it. Now let's talk about news. The news needs to take the juiciest sound bites and disseminate them. So they're going to tell you what's most depressing or most exciting. And most of the time, unfortunately, they choose what's most depressing. So if you have heard that your industry is shrinking, that job creation has shrunk, that your local economy is depressed, please do take a look at the data a lot further. So you can go onto bls.gov and you can take a look at the data. You can take a look at your metropolitan region. Sometimes within metropolitan regions there's even smaller counties that you can take a look at. You can take a look at industries within your geographic region that may be shrinking, and there might be some that are growing. So take a look for yourself and find out. Don't just take what the media says for Bible gospel. Also, you can follow the BLS on Twitter. You can have tweets sent to your phone. You will find some news is going to be perhaps discouraging, but you'll also find news that is encouraging. Shrinking industry. So, fact. Okay, after the 2008 fallout in the financial services industry, it shrunk. Okay, there was a mass exodus of talent that left, and some people just were disgusted, and they used to have passion for what they were providing, and now they just can't find that passion, and those people will probably have wanted to reinvent themselves and find something else that they could be passionate about contributing. But if you were passionate about contributing, say you were passionate about helping first-time homeowners get really great financing for their first home, and mortgage was your thing and you really like that, should you jump ship just because everybody else did? No. No, actually you should not, because the industry still needs people who are passionate about it, so your passion is your best competitive advantage. And if you had to re-strategize and you had to figure out something else to do, but your heart was here, then you'd face some challenges as far as competing with people who already have that industry. So there's going to be challenges in most job searches, but if you have true passion for what you're pursuing, then all of those challenges are completely overcomable. But if you don't have passion for what you're doing, then those challenges can be insurmountable. So let's say you heard that your role is being completely phased out, or you just feel like it is, or you know because your job was eliminated and you were replaced by some big machine. Then you know that potentially your job is going away. That isn't always a bad thing. Say you had a job where you were working with your hands, you were a widget maker, say, and now this machine makes widgets for you. That doesn't necessarily mean that you should go learn how to use this big machine in order to maintain a job or maintain some kind of employment. You can, if what you loved was working with your hands, there's still going to be some application for that, and that's what you should be looking at. A really great example of a job that people always believed was being phased out. And in this world of changing technology, some technology does become obsolete and some just becomes less in demand. For instance, when I was an IT recruiter, .NET was emerging as a technology that people were using to develop software. And we didn't have a lot of domestic .NET developers. We had to go offshore. We had to go to India a lot of the times for .NET development talent. And a lot of candidates that were working with older technologies, maybe Java, were asking me, should they learn .NET? And I would say, if you love being involved in the latest and greatest technology and you want to jump on this emerging trend in technology, then yes, do that. However, I won't be able to place you as a candidate until you have hands-on experience with that. So you'll have to go outside of me to go and obtain that talent. However, if I had somebody come to me and say, I'm a legacy developer, in other words, this is like COBOL, they're working with DB2, they're working with really old technologies, and they said, should I learn .NET? If their answer to, yeah, I want to be on the latest and greatest technology was no, I really am comfortable with what I'm doing, then I would say stay with what you're doing because there's still going to be a big demand for you as long as you keep your legacy skills very fresh. So even if you feel like your role is being eliminated and maybe you don't see all those job postings out there, it's always great to get the insight of somebody who's inside the industry to tell you whether that's true or not. The other thing you can go to see whether your potential role has a future or your current role has a future is on the Bureau of Labor and Statistics website. They have what's called an Occupational Outlook Handbook. If you look at that, you can just do the search up in the search bar that's up to the right-hand corner of that website, put OOH, then it should pop up and you can take a look at what's trending for the next several years, even as far as salaries go for that job. So the last reason that I wanted to evaluate as to why you might be discouraged about your job search would be because you have spent months, perhaps even years, which is very common these days, applying for jobs or even using your network as you're supposed to, and still you haven't had a job offer. So even within this category, actually, there are 3 different situations that might be present, and we'll talk about each one of those. A big problem. You've been applying for jobs for months, perhaps years or a year, and you haven't gotten any interviews. Okay, this is a pretty scary situation to be in, and you may have started to believe that there's something wrong with you, and that's not always the case. In fact, most of the time it's just there's something wrong with your resume. It could be maybe there's something in your resume that is posing you as too strong of a risk to an employer, and you do have to see that the employer looks at each candidate and determines what value do they present and what risk do they present, and if the risk outweighs the value, they're moving on. And sometimes even if the risk doesn't outweigh the value, but the value isn't as strong as this candidate's value, and your risk is just that much more than that candidate's risk, they're moving on. It's a very competitive job market. I think a lot of candidates don't necessarily see that. Even if you do feel like you're a very valuable person, sometimes you don't necessarily see how the employer places priority on X, Y, Z. And so it is sometimes really great to see the employer's perspective, which is what we offer. So if it's not your resume, say you have a professionally written resume, you worked on your brand, you know it's consistent from here to there, and your LinkedIn profile is also rocking, then perhaps you're just pursuing the wrong jobs. Perhaps you're looking at job postings and saying, I got that qualification, I have that qualification, I have that qualification, I haven't been that before, but since I meet these qualifications, I should go for it. And that's not always the case. Again, you're not really seeing it from the employer's perspective, and you're not seeing how you're being compared to other people applying for this job. So unless that's the job that you really want, which again enables you to be that much more competitive for it, then you're probably not going to overcome that challenge. So then let's say you've been applying for all this time and you have gotten interviews. Then you know it's not your resume, and especially if you have a killer LinkedIn profile to supplement your resume, and you know you've worked on your brand and you know what you're presenting and you're getting interest. That's great. However, if you're not making it to the second round of interviews, or if you're making it to the final round of interviews but you're never the one that gets the offer, then there could be something that you're presenting through the interview process that could be posing as a potential risk to an employer. Or there could be something common among those jobs that's a desired skill set that you're not offering, in which case you might want to, if that's the job you really want, either A, re-strategize and look for companies that may not require that skill set, or B, filling in the gap of your experience or your education, whatever it happens to be. Perhaps there's a gap in your experience, something that happened in your past that you don't really feel confident talking about. That's where I would recommend interview coaching, which we offer, of course. We don't want you to necessarily learn how to trick people or deceive people or use nonverbal communication and techniques and tricks to do it. What we want to help you do is kind of get clear about the facts of what happened versus the emotion around what happened, so that you can speak confidently about what happened. That's just an example of reasons why you might be getting interviews but not offers. And the third reason why you might have spent a long time looking for a job with few results or no job offers or bad job offers would be because you're using the wrong resources. In the beginning of this video, I talked about how a lot of companies are not depending on job boards to do their hiring for them, and if you're depending on it to find a job, then you're spending your time on a resource that's going to frustrate you. People do get jobs on job boards. It is rare, and you're facing extreme competition. It's kind of like if you've ever been bidding for something on an online auction like eBay or Deal Dash or something like that, where you're competing with, hundreds of people for the same item. Your chances of winning that item go down. But if you're bidding on something, say, rare or something precious or something you know a lot about that not a lot of people know that it's valuable, and you have scoped out the competition, you know your strategy, you know exactly what you're going to pay for it, that is when you have the highest chance of winning. It's the same thing when it comes to job searching. If you are spending any more than 5% of your time on a job board, then you are doomed for discouragement. If you want to know exactly how you should be spending your time, what it should look like from the time you get up until the time you go to bed, and how you can even enjoy it and have fun, then you should check out our webinar on our website called Insider Edge to Social Media, 3 Success Secrets for Getting Hired. Trust me when I say that it's not looking like you being on a computer all day, depressed and just waiting for somebody to reach out their hand and help you. That's not what your job search should look like, although I know a lot of people feel like that when they're in job transitions, and that's why we're here. So if you find yourself in any of those positions, then please contact us. We'd love to help you. If you're feeling like you truly have no opportunities, you've taken a look at all these things that we've evaluated here, and you've said, none of those apply to me, I just really know that there are no opportunities for me, then it is time to reinvent yourself. And this could be an opportunity to find something else that you truly enjoy once you're done mourning the career that you had in the past, and that's also something else that we can help you out with. So again, here's the link to the video that will show you how to get your complimentary resume and campaign evaluation, and how we can provide you with a customized proposal to help you overcome whatever challenges you're facing in your job transition. And we look forward to hearing from you. Unveil your brilliance.